Hey guys, so this is week 4, and previously we had talked about tables in HTML. So we looked at how we can create tables, and we did a basic example here. We created this timetable in a very short amount of time. Right, so yeah, that's basically the recap of what we did last time. We looked at tables, how to add table rows, table head, caption, table data, and all that stuff. Yeah, so I know I keep forgetting, but okay, nobody has really asked, so I guess that's why I keep forgetting. But just in case you need the source file, like you need this file here, you can always pause it and copy it out. Just in case you need it, you can ask for it on the group or chat me up privately to get the source files. So yeah, that's it from last time. Today, like I said previously, we're going to be looking at images and videos and how to add images and videos to your web page in HTML. So we're starting with images, right? So like I said, before you start typing anything, try and pay attention to understand first, because the understanding is the most important thing. With all the AI tools we have now, you don't really need to type much. You just need to understand what's going on, make adjustments where necessary. So first of all, adding an image using the img elements. That's basically the elements we use to add images in HTML. Then the image tag is empty. It contains attributes only and does not have a closing tag. So it is a stand-alone tag. It does not have a closing tag. So it is just one tag, and it contains attributes. I had previously explained that attributes are what we use to uniquely identify or give our elements special characteristics and features, right? So that's basically the use of attributes. There are a lot of attributes, but with time you get to use them and know how to use them better, right? So the most important attributes when dealing with images is what we call SRC, right? So we have the SRC attributes. The SRC attribute specifies the URL, that's the web address of the image. If the image you want to use is hosted somewhere on the internet, but if it's not, you also use the SRC to specify the location of the image on your computer or your device, right? So checking out this code snippet here, we have the basic HTML document structure, then they added an image here. So let me try and highlight this. Okay, my highlighting is terrible, but I'm gonna have to manage it like that. Okay, so yeah, this is basically everything that is going on for the image that was added. So you can see clearly that there is just one tag, there is no closing tag, so it is standalone tag, and it is basically made up of different attributes. So most importantly, we have the SRC attributes here. So SRC attributes, and follows the same syntax for every other attribute. The name of the attribute equal to then the double quotation marks, which contains the details of the attribute. Then we also have the alt attribute here. Then we have the width attribute. Oh, this is the best one so far. Then we have the, oh my god, I just ruined my perfect streak. Anyways, we have the height attribute here. Okay, so this is horrible. Anyways, I'm going to design on, so it doesn't really matter. So we know what the src attribute does, right? Full meaning is source. It specifies the source of the image, either the location on your laptop or computer, or the URL if the image you want to use is gotten from the internet or the web. Then we have the alt attribute, which basically specifies what you want to show in case for any reason the image does not load. So take for example, you insert an image to your web page and you make a mistake in spelling out the name of the image, and it doesn't display on the user screen, right? So what will show is this alt text in place of the image. So instead of the logo showing, it should just say rocks logo, right? That's basically the use of the alt text. Or let's say you use a URL, a link somewhere on the internet, and the user's data connection is bad or the internet connection is poor. What will show is your alt text, right? So that's why we have the alt text. So you just write in here what you want to show. If for any reason your image does not show, right? Then we have the width attribute, which is basically just specifying how wide the image should be. Then we have the height, specifying how tall the image should be, right? How much vertical space it should consume on your browser screen, right? So this width and height are not usually advisable to, it's not usually advisable to add them from HTML, right? That's why we have CSS. That's what we use to style our HTML document. But just for the purpose of learning and having an example without having to talk about HTML, we can also do it from here using these attributes, right? So we'll get to look at that in just a minute. So let's just come down and look at the explanation here. The height and width attributes, you can use the height and width attributes. The width and height attributes are in pixels. Okay, yeah, that's true. These are also specified in pixels because our screens basically are made up of pixels. So there are other ways to specify this width and height attributes when it comes to CSS. But pixels is like the easiest and most professional way of doing it, right? A lot of times it's easier for you rather than having to use things like rem, em, percentage, and all that stuff, right? So let's just go ahead and add an image. Do we have to create a document for this? Okay, I think we should. I already have my Sublime Text open, so I'll just close some of this stuff. Just close this list. We can close this and this. Okay. No, thank you. This. Let me just create a new file. Right, so we'll specify HTML down here. And right, so just call it images, then go to our body, and we're trying to add an image, right? So let's just, as usual, write our h1. So just write a brief title. Then now we want to add the image. So how do we do that? We use the image element. So of course we all know how to create elements now. So it's just type it out, then we see automatically it gives us the src attribute telling you that it is the most important, because without it you cannot display any image, right? So I'll just write the name of the image that I've already put in the folder. As you can see here, there's an image here called purple, and it's in the same folder with all the other things I've been working on. So all I have to do is write the name dot. Then another important thing is the extension. What I mean by extension is the file type. So images usually come in a lot of different file types. It's JPG and PNG, which are the most common ones, right? So you have to specify it. You may not know, it's easy to know. You can just come here and hover over it and you see you write it here, item type PNG file, right? Or you can change the view to list and you see the PNG file, right? So just in case you've still not seen it, you can right click on it, check the properties, and you still see it here again, PNG file, right? So it's .png. That's what we have to add to our code for it to be displayed. So add .png. So now we save this as usual. Just call it image, and that will be all. I'm going to go ahead and open it in our web browser, and you see we have an image here, right? So that's basically how it works. Very easy to do, right? All you have to do is to specify the file part of the image, where you specify the name and the file type. So let's talk about the other attributes. So another attribute that I always like to use is the alt, and I said we use this when we want to ensure that there is something to fall back to in case for any reason the image doesn't display. So let me just write something random like our purple picture. Okay, no spell purple, right? So that's purple. So now if we save this and we load our page, nothing really happens, right? Because of course the image is showing, so there's no need for the alt text. But let's say we intentionally make a mistake in spelling purple, and let's just remove E. Then I save this, go back to our browser and refresh. You see the image doesn't show again, and what shows here is the alt text as the alternative text, right? Our purple picture, what we wrote here. So that's the advantage of using the alt attribute. Because a lot of times, if you are developing real life applications or web apps, things that you actually want to deploy and you expect people to use, you have to take note of the fact that sometimes, for some reason, your images might not show that due to the user's internet connection or errors on your server side, or even you making a mistake while building the web app. So it's very good and very important to add the alt text, right? So it just makes everything looks better. So just imagine we do not add this. Sorry, to the skin. Imagine we do not add this. It will just be like this. You'll see this image icon here, but there's no way to know, okay, what was supposed to be there. So just adding this text helps the user experience a lot. It helps the user know that, oh, this is what is supposed to be here. Alright, so very important. Then we also have, spell this correctly, We also have the width attribute. Now, take for example on our site, the image is taking up a lot of space, right? So long, so wide, but it's even causing horizontal scrolling, right? And we do not want that. Let's say we just want the image to be here or here, depending on, but we don't want it to be this large. We want to control the size. That's where the width and height attributes come in. So we can specify a width, let me just say 500. You can only write here, it's already in pixels, right? You save it, reload, and you see it has reduced to 500. So you see it's very important too. Another one, height, can specify 900. Save it, come back here, refresh. See, it's long. It's 900 pixel tall and 500 pixel wide. So that's basically it. Not a fan of using the height, so I'll just leave it with only the width. So those are basically the most common attributes you get to interact with. In fact, less so for width and height, because a lot of times we end up just specifying that using CSS. But for the purpose of this class, we'll just do that instead, right? But now you know how to add images, how to use the out attributes, the width and height, and the use of all of them. So let's go back to our document and see what we have to talk about next. Okay, we've done this. Okay, we have another document here. Okay, so what they basically did is to just display the same image with different width and height, right? I think we've already touched on that. Already done something like this, stretched. Sorry, once again. I am very terrible at this. Fortunately, new kit's not been cleaning. Anyways, guess we just have to manage it like that. But basically, you get the gist. It's all about the width and height. That's the only thing that is different in these three images. This has a longer height than width. This is just width, and this is width and height. So yeah, that's basically it. And another thing we need to talk about as regards to images is using images as links. Right, so we can use images as links. So when we click on it, it takes us somewhere else. So let's say we want to do that. Let me just duplicate this, right, so we can so let's say we want to use an image as a link. We'll go about specifying our link. We use the A tag, don't forget to create a link. So the href, the difference between the link and the image is that image uses src, while the A uses, that's the link, it uses href. So let me just specify the link of one of the files that is in the same folder. So now we want, don't forget, in between the opening and closing link tags, we want to specify what will be displayed as the link. Right, we've already given it the value, but we've not specified what should be displayed, what should the user see that they can interact with or click on to take them to this link.html. So we'll just copy this, or let's just cut it and put it in between. Paste it, right? So save that. I'll come here and refresh. So we have two images, right? And the reason why you see them side by side is because before I explain, the reason why they are side by side is because images are inline elements, meaning they don't take up the whole space allocated to them, right? They just take up the size of the content within them. So if I put an image that is this small, it will just take up this space, and whatever is coming after it will continue, right? If we want it to take up the whole space, we have to put it inside a div. Now a div is the block level elements that we use to give structure to our web page, right? And put everything in different sections like that. But now what we're talking about is using images as links. And what we'll notice here is that these two images look the same, they appear the same, but look closely, observe the difference. If I hover over them, you notice something changes. On this one, it's just the normal mouse pointer, right? And when we come here, it changes to a little hand, right? We call it pointer, right? It's a pointer. And if you look down to the bottom left of the screen, you see a blue background and some text shown there. That's basically the file part of the image, right? And what it's showing us is the value of the link. So if I hover over it, it shows me the link that is going to take me to when I click on it. But if I hover over this one, nothing shows because this is just a normal image, not a link. So let's check if the link is working by clicking on it. See, it took us somewhere, right? It took us to the links page that we talked about previously, right? Which was what we added here in our code. So that's basically how we use images as links. So you can just, if I click on this first one, nothing happens, but if I click on the second one, it takes me here. So again, all we had to do was put the image inside, in between the opening a tag and the closing a tag, right? That's basically how we use images as links. Then what else do we have here? Okay, great. In situations whereby the image is not in the same folder as the document which we have here, you see everything is just in the same folder. But in real life scenario, right, when you are working on actual projects, this is not how you structure your files. You would want to put them in a separate folder, right? That's how it's done professionally. So let's just create a folder and test how it is, how it works. Let me name it images. So if I copy this and exit rather, right? So this is how you do it in a professional situation. But now, if I go back to our code and I save this, then go back to browser and refresh, you see nothing shows. And the reason is because we have changed the location of the image that we are trying to call. It is no longer here, it is now inside the folder, therefore it does not work. So now how do we call an image that is inside another folder? All we have to do is to specify the folder name, right? Images, which is the folder name, and add a /, right? That's basically it. As you can see it here, images, right? So that's what it's trying to explain. So you add a / before and after the folder name. So that's it. So you're basically telling your browser, your text editor, your code, whatever, how you choose to understand it, that when you don't check for this image, this link. Okay, sorry, mistake. I'm adding this to the wrong place. Okay, that would have been Control Z. Why is it still wasting this? That would have been bad. I'm supposed to add it here. Yeah, I'm supposed to add it here. Good. So you're basically saying that don't check for this purple.png, this file inside this folder you're currently in. Go a step deeper, check the folder called images. That's basically what we're saying. So if we save this, it's supposed to work. Okay, it doesn't work, so let's go back and check what happened. Images. Can you remove this and see if that is it? Okay, yes, perfect. So I don't know why they misled us there. Anyways, I should have not stuck with what I wanted to do. We see that this one, the first image is not showing and the second image is showing, and the reason is because here we have specified the new location of the image, which is inside the folder images folder. So if I add it here, which we haven't done before, it should show now. Save that and open this. See, it shows. Right, so that's basically how you specify an image, right? That's inside the folder. No matter how many folders you have, that's just how you keep doing it. So let's say I have a folder called assets. That's how you spell it, right? And I cut this and I put it inside here. All I have to do is to go back to my code, and because if I refresh this now it won't work. See, I have to go and specify that it's inside another folder that it has to check now. So just say assets and save that and refresh and see it says the image, which is in assets. It's in assets, then images before it can get the image. So we have to specify assets and images before the image name. So yeah, that's basically how you call an image from within another folder. Right, then we have embedding a YouTube video. To play your video on your web page, do the following: upload. Okay, this is just too much English, let's skip it. Basically what they are trying to say is, for adding a YouTube video, what we use is the iframe elements, right? It's not image elements, we use iframe. And unlike the image elements, the iframe has both opening and closing tags. It has similar attributes to it. It has width, height, src. Then we also have what we call frame border, and we have allow full screen, right? Go ahead and try this out yourself. I don't think I need to. It follows basically the same syntax, and I'm not connected to internet for the purpose of this lesson. Don't want any distraction or any notification coming in. But basically, your video should show if you follow this syntax that you are given here. Just make sure you paste the link of the YouTube video you want to embed inside the src instead of the file path. Now you're specifying the URL, so you just paste it in and that should work. You can choose to put the frame border, then, or you can choose to put this allow full screen. What that basically means is that the user can make it full screen. There will be a button there for them to make it full screen, right? That's the use of the allow full screen. So yeah, that's it. We're supposed to look at this example, but before then I want us to see if we can add a video. So I'll just check if I have a video that I can quickly add something light, and we'll continue in the next video. In the next video add a video to our page, then we'll do the simple exercise here. Right.